welcome back here to Gym Challenge number 8 at Psycho Turtle Collectibles. We're heading into Swiss round number 4. I'm Dennis Geisler, with me Robert Matthews, and we're getting towards the end of the Swiss rounds here. Brandon Davis and Alicia Martinez will be playing here in Swiss round 4. Both players at 2-1. 4-1 probably gets, well, definitely gets you through to top cut. 3-2 may or may not. Brandon with the Psy Spam team, Armor Rouge, Indeedee, Torkoal, Gallade, Ogerpon, Cornerstone, and Iron Hands. Alicia with the Hisuian Arcanine, Tornadus Incarnate, Rillaboom, Urshifu Rapid Strike, Farigiraf, and Fluttermane. First thoughts, Brandon? Or not? I'm talking to Robert.
Something that Brandon's really gonna have to watch out for, since his team is very Trick Room based, is this Farigiraf with the access to the Imprisoned Trick Room to stop anything on his team from going for Trick Room while that Farigiraf is on the field.
Yeah, I wonder if you have to play this a little bit kind of sideways, I guess, to try to get the Farigiraf out of the way and then get the Trick Room going, because yeah, this team, even more than a lot of teams, is very Trick Room reliant. Only really the Ogerpon Cornerstone is particularly fast. Gallade's got a little bit of speed to it, but not really. It's a pretty slow Gallade. In any case, Alicia will lead with that Farigiraf, as well as the Arcanine. Will be Gallade, Ogerpon on the side of Brandon. That's a nice lead from Alicia, because you know that you can either shut down the Trick Room with Imprison, or you can shut down the Ogerpon or the Iron Hands with Intimidate. Ogerpon does have the ability to just kind of get a random Ivy Cudgel crit, but that's still, in any case, a pretty solid lead from Alicia here. Matchup against whatever, and if she needs to switch anything out, she is absolutely able to. On Brandon's side, yeah, you really want to get the Trick Room up. You'll have to figure out a way for Ogerpon to get that opportunity. You see the early Terrastal, the onto the, he's doing an Arcanine, the Fairy type, does have the Terra Blast, his choice band, same set as we saw earlier today.
That Ivy Cudgel from Ogerpon going on to the Arcanine. Arcanine going for the Rock Slide, which is going to miss Ogerpon, and Farigiraf going for Psychic into the Ogerpon. As Gallade is going to Psycho Cut into that slot as well, and Alicia is going to lose her Arcanine and Terra on turn 1.
Yeah, that was a rough turn 1 from Alicia on a couple of levels. One, I'm curious to know if that Psycho Cut would have picked up the knockout if it had not crit. Remember that Gallade is at -1 attack. Second, did miss the Rock Slide onto the Ogerpon, although that didn't matter all that much. I thought it might matter in order to break the Sturdy for later, but Sturdy isn't going to matter all that much, especially into this matchup. Especially now that we have the Urshifu Rapid Strike coming out. But Brandon definitely on the front end of this right now, but still has to figure out how to play around the rest of these Pokemon here. I like that Cornerstone mask. I just like how the mask looks. Iron Hands will come out for Brandon. Gallade gets to cycle out, switch out its Intimidate.
Power Whip on the Ogerpon is going to miss Urshifu as it goes for Surging Strikes onto Iron Hands.
That's a big Power Whip miss. The Surging Strikes targeting the Iron Hands isn't exactly perfect if you're Alicia. It does do about half of its HP. The Psychic, will this finish it off? It will finish it off. The Iron Hands, taken down from the top, did critical hit. I'm curious to know if that mattered. But in any case, great damage there from Alicia, taking down that Iron Hands, and now, well, now it's going to be difficult here, because Farigiraf can try to stop anything from anything silly from Indeedee, but if Indeedee follow me's, it can really hurt this Urshifu. Would probably knock it out with Surging Strikes, but would also take all that Rocky Helmet damage in return. At this point, Brandon has shown all of his Pokemon as well. Urshifu will leave.
Yeah. Now to Rillaboom.
That'll reset the terrain. The only two terrain setters we really see in this current metagame are these two.
Like, there are technically options for electric and misty terrain, but those options are Pincurchin and Galarian Weezing.
Yeah, not exactly the most common. Some okay damage dealt all around, but not really anything put into super threatening range. The Gallade is at a little bit of a risk of taking a Psychic from the Farigiraf, but in general, nothing too scary right now. It does mean the Psychic terrain could get cycled again, but honestly, I wonder what the major value of it at some level, because the Rillaboom can just click Woodhammer if it's especially afraid, and it will still do a lot of damage to all these Pokemon.
Ogerpon going to switch out to Indeedee to get the Psychic terrain back.
Indeed it will. So now Grassy Glide will not be able to get that priority.
There's going to be a Terra from Brandon, and it's going to be the Gallade, the Fire type.
Will make it a little bit better against Rillaboom. It will also mean it doesn't take any super effective damage from a Dazzling Gleam. Oh, and it barely takes the Woodhammer. That Terrastal very important, as it means it barely takes that Woodhammer. Psychic targeting the Indeedee now means that Gallade does get an attack off, and that attack is a knockout onto the Rillaboom. Big turn there for Brandon with the very, very narrow margins of getting that Gallade to take that last attack. And now Farigiraf will be able to finish it with a Dazzling Gleam. The Indeedee will probably get taken down with the Surging Strikes. So still an opportunity for Alicia to have some momentum in this battle. That Power Whip miss earlier onto this Urshifu was big, because it would have done at least big damage, if not a knockout. But instead, we still have that Urshifu prowling around. Maybe Ogerpon switching in for the Gallade. Actually a Detect out of the Urshifu.
He goes for the Follow Me. And the Farigiraf is going to go for Dazzling Gleam.
A little bit of chip damage across the board, but now Alicia is able to read out that the Gallade switched out. Not sure what you really do with that information. Ogerpon is fast. It's going to be difficult to deal with if you are Urshifu. You have the Aqua Jet as an option, but the Follow Me from the Indeedee can block anything you want to do. Oh, and it's Psychic Terrain. Yeah, Psychic Terrain is still up.
Urshifu goes for the Double Protect and fails. Follow Me again from the Indeedee. And Power Whip is going to hit Urshifu this time.
That time it picks up the knockout. Dazzling Gleam once more. Gets Ogerpon nearly down, but the Farigiraf gonna be struggling up into this remaining matchup. Does actually, I mean, it does some good damage. We'll see how much damage the Farigiraf takes up into these Pokemon.
Ivy Cudgel going to do a little less than half to Farigiraf. Dazzling Gleam.
Finishes off the Ogerpon there, and Indeedee will set up the Trick Room, in fact. That means the Gallade will come back in. The Gallade will be on very low HP, but it does mean it will go first because of the Trick Room. It can only take one Dazzling Gleam, but that might be all it needs. You also have to be a little bit concerned about the Wide Guard, but it is just a helping hand into the Gallade. Could be the battle decider here.
Farigiraf is going to get knocked out by the Sacred Sword. delayed by the Rocky Helmet in exchange, but there's still that Ndidi sitting on the field for Brandon, so he's going to be taking this game 1.
Yeah, and that was another critical hit there from Brandon. Again, not sure how much it mattered, but the Gallade with 2 pretty high-pressure critical hits as well as 1 missed Power Whip. A lot of potential variance in a second game if they run back similar strategies, but still very well played by both these players overall. We didn't see a whole lot. It definitely showed the Farigiraf how it's able to just kind of sit there, be very bulky, and make it very difficult to beat it. At the same time, it didn't really do a whole lot. It was able to get attacks off every single turn, and still, like, it just kind of got things to low HP or got them near getting knocked out, and just kind of took a long time on a lot of that. Now, some decisions to make. Brandon can commit more to the Psy Spam Trick Room playstyle, potentially, or go in a different direction. Did not see the Armor Rouge or the Torkoal in the last battle. From Alicia, didn't see the Tornadus or the Fluttermane. Both of those not great under Trick Room. Although none of Alicia's Pokemon are especially good under Trick Room for a Giraffe. Just a little bit too fast. I think it's just a couple points faster than the Gallade, which is good outside of Trick Room and bad inside Trick Room. In any case, we are going to get into this game number 2. Again, both these players at 2-1 here in round number 4. A win makes it pretty likely that you're going to float through to Top Cut, or at least decently likely that you'll float through to Top Cut. A loss means you'll have to be fighting your way back. Arcanine Farigiraf once again from Alicia. That lead I mentioned, pretty nice. We'll see it again. It's Armor Rouge and Ndidi, so in this case, got that classic Psy Spam lead, but at the same time, it means that Farigiraf can pretty easily go for an Imprison here and just see what Brandon wants to try against it.
Because of the Gallade on this on this team with the Wide Guard instead, Armor Rouge doesn't have it, which means that the Arcanine can go for Rock Slides here.
Indeed it can. Always a good option there. Difficult for Brandon. I'm sure Brandon had to know that this was a potential lead moving into this, so there has to be some idea of what to go for. Will be the Terastallization here. Going for the Terra Grass onto the Armor Rouge. With that Flash Fire means it has very few weaknesses.
Didi going for the Helping Hand. Arcanine going for the Rock Slide.
Rock Slide flinch here could be big.
And it's not going to flinch Armor Rouge. And Arcanine's going to get knocked out, and Farigiraf is going to it looks like potentially be put in range of another Helping Hand Expanding Force.
It definitely will be, but this is an opportunity now where you can bring in the Fluttermane and see what you can do. It should do a lot of damage. It's Booster Energy Special Attack, and so it'll be way faster than these Pokemon and do a lot of damage. Could be difficult here for Brandon to get another one of those Expanding Force, Helping Hand Expanding Forces out. So at this point, Fluttermane is pretty free to do what it wants. It should do a lot of damage, especially if you want to invest the Terastal and just say, Terra Fairy Dazzling Gleam, what are you going to do about it? Ndidi's not allowed to attack.
Ndidi has to either Helping Hand or follow me here.
Neither is really ideal in this situation. There is the Terastal there, and I was talking about for Alicia. Will be onto that Fluttermane. Terra Fairy Fluttermane with the Booster Energy Special Attack. Lots and lots of damage from the fairy type moves now. Armor Rouge will protect. Try to get through this turn. Edie using the follow me, probably because it had to. And Dazzling Gleam.
Team from the Flutter going to
should knock out this Indeedee. Ooh, brings it to just 1 HP.
1 HP.
But Farigiraf has Dazzling Gleam of its own. That'll do it. So there goes the Indeedee, one of the potential Trick Room setters, probably one of the safer ones. It also means the Psychic Terrain will be able to be reset if Rillaboom ever comes in. Ogerpon will come through now. It does have the Sturdy, and it is faster than Farigiraf. So it does have the opportunity to just do tons of damage to this Flutter Mane. Probably knock it out with an Ivy Cudgel. And Flutter Mane can't exactly knock it out. At the same time, could go for a Protect, but that means the Armor Rouge is free to do as it wants and probably knock out the Farigiraf, allowing an opportunity to get the Trick Room up. Maybe next turn. I don't know.
Well, that first Expanding Force was actually helping Handed.
Oh, it was helping hand boosted, yeah.
So if there's no double up here, and it's just Expanding Force, Farigiraf probably does take it.
Probably does indeed. We'll see. Expanding Force. It is just single targeted though. And it will knock out the Farigiraf through that. Farigiraf is knocked out now. The Imprisoned Trick Room is no longer. Armor Rouge loses a bit of its HP from the Life Orb. And Rillaboom will come back out, so no more Expanding Forces hitting both opponents. We do have Grassy Terrain now. But Ogerpon now has a great opportunity to just kind of hit something. Probably is going to wait out this turn as Rillaboom will exude that fake out support. There's the double protect. See what the idea was. Maybe a fake out on the Ogerpon. So we'll do a little bit of damage back from the Spiky Shield. Not that Rillaboom's that upset, and should heal back that damage with the Grassy Terrain regardless. And it would have been Dazzling Gleam. So, not a whole lot done that turn. And now, some good options for Alicia. I think you could go for... You want to make sure you double up into the Ogerpon to make sure that that Sturdy doesn't mess with you too much. You could go for a Grassy Glide and a Dazzling Gleam. Could potentially deal with both of these Pokemon here. Alicia definitely on the front foot here. But very much considering her moves here. I really like that Cornerstone mask. I don't know why. The little tusk things are really fun to me. Nice coloration. Seen a lot more lately.
Grassy Glide going out into the Ogerpon, doing over half of its HP. Flutter Mane going for the Dazzling Gleam, which will get a double knockout.
And indeed, that Grassy Glide to break the Sturdy, and then the Dazzling Gleam to finish it off. Double knockout there for the Flutter Mane, and that leaves just the Gallade to try to, or excuse me, just the Iron Hands to try to deal with the rest of this team. I don't think Iron Hands is going to be able to get it done. It's going to have to take a Moonblast, and I don't know that it'll be able to.
This Iron Hands is not the usual Assault Vest set. It is instead Clear Amulet, and it has Ice Punch for coverage over Heavy Slam.
Yeah, very anti-Landorus Iron Hands, but that makes it worse at matching up against Flutter Mane. And in any case, Alicia will win game number 2. We'll tie at 1-1, go into game number 3. Big game for both of these players. We're in round 4 of 5 rounds of Swiss here. Both these players at 2-1. Opportunities for both progress to 3-1, make it a bit more likely that you progress on to Top Cut. Brandon led with the Indeedee Armor Rouge in the last battle and kind of just got beaten for it. didn't really have a lot of answers to a fast Flutter Mane in the back, or not even a fast Flutter Mane, a high damage Flutter Mane that's fast enough to outspeed a Trick Room team. If you're Brandon, you have to make sure that you exert enough pressure to either get a Trick Room up or deal with the Pokemon if you can't. Haven't seen the Torkoal all series for Brandon. We haven't seen the Tornadus all series for Alicia. Probably wants to avoid the Tornadus. The taunt is nice, but
yeah,
with the prankster, it won't.
Yeah, like it wouldn't work in psychic terrain.
Yeah.
So all it really does here is all the support it really provides here is Rain Dance support for potentially dealing with that Torkoal, which still hasn't come out yet.
In any case, game number 3 for all the marbles here in round number 4. The Indeedee, the Furgiraffe Arcanine lead once again for Alicia, and this time it's Torkoal and Gallade. Torkoal getting the sun up early. Not seen this Torkoal yet. Torkoal, obviously a great Pokemon. Very good defense, very good special attack. Very slow, works great in Trick Room. Going to have to figure out what to do into this matchup here. We'll take some serious damage and potentially a flinch from a Rock Slide if it lets that happen. It is the...
the Gallade does actually have access to Wide Guard, so it can stop a Rock Slide.
Can indeed stop a Rock Slide. This could be the read from Alicia to try to, or excuse me, the read from Brandon to try to win this series. Terra Fire on the Gallade, what we'll see is the first choice. It will get that Wide Guard up. We'll see if it correctly predicted the Rock Slide. It did not.
Arcanine's going for the Flare Blitz into Gallade, and that is almost going to knock it out. Psychic from Furgiraffe hitting into the Torkoal.
Oh, and the critical hit onto the Torkoal. That's rough.
Going to weaken that eruption a little. Going to weaken that eruption even more.
An interesting read there from Brandon. Not a bad call. Definitely got to keep the Gallade standing despite the big hit from Flare Blitz, but now you are so far on the back foot if you were Brandon trying to play out the rest of this one. Your Torkoal's at such low health, Eruption won't really do anything. Still do have Heat Wave and Earth Power. Still solid damage, but you don't feel great about that Pokemon. Gallade is basically out of there, and along with it, your Terrastal. Gallade will switch out. Come into the Armarouge. The Armarouge does have the Armor Cannon, Fire-type option. Flare Blitz, attacking the Armarouge will now boost it even further, that Flash Fire.
Psychic into the Torkoal is going to knock it out.
Critical hit Psychic was a big part of that game here. Does mean no more Torkoal. Although now a bit of an awkward spot as Armarouge Indeedee is now in for Brandon. Armarouge and Indeedee both at full health, and Armarouge with the ability to Armor Cannon for tons of damage here. This could actually be a little bit scary if you're Alicia. You have to make sure that you play well around these two Pokemon here. Furgiraffe has to stay standing with the Imprison to make sure the Trick Room doesn't get up this turn.
But a sun-boosted armor cannon could be a problem for that.
Exactly, and Arcanine not going to be able to Rock Slide. Is locked into Flare Blitz right now. Will Flare Blitz the Indeedee? That's a one-hit knockout. It won't be able to set up the Trick Room this turn. Ring the bell. And Arcanine will not go down to the recoil plus the Rocky Helmet. There is the Armor Cannon. and it will knock out the Fur Giraffe, but it does mean that the defense and special defense falls for the Armourouge, and most importantly, with no Indeedee, you can't get the Trick Room up. So now we'll see what the Pokemon in the back here is for Alicia to try to clean out the rest of this. It is the Fluttermane. Still has the Terastallization available and be difficult to play against here. Just a little bit too fast. Should be able to clear out the Gallade. Gallade does have Wide Guard to try to block a Dazzling Gleam if that ends up being the choice, but Fluttermane can do what it wants.
Fluttermane going for Shadow Ball and the Armourouge to take the knockout there.
And that should be it when the Flare Blitz comes through. Indeed it does. And there it is, Alicia with the 2-1 victory over Brandon in round number 4. She'll move to 3-1. Brandon will move to 2-2. And yeah, that was really well played. I really like that Fur Giraffe Arcanine lead. We've seen a very heavy rise in the usage of Arcanine at the highest level of some of these regionals, and we're seeing a lot of the value of it. You just do a ton of damage with those Flare Blitzes. If you want to throw out a Rock Slide, tons of utility, and you just get that early Intimidate off. There's not a whole lot the other person can do about it. And then with the Fur Giraffe, you're able to kind of block that Trick Room as well. It just all worked together very well. But about to head into round number 5 in not too long. Will be pretty interesting going into the rest of this. See how many people decide to go for what kinds of strategies moving forward. Seen a lot of obviously a lot of Rillaboom today. A lot of Urshifu seems to be rising back up quite a bit moving forward. But yeah, we're gonna take a quick break, and on the other side we will see you back for round number 5.